If you're one of those people who love giving your car a good wash every weekend, you grab the bucket, the soap, the sponge, leave the body looking spotless, but then you peek under the hood, wrinkle your nose, and think, man, this engine is absolutely filthy. I gotta clean this thing. Stop right there. Take a breath, because what you're about to hear could save you from a repair bill way bigger than you ever imagined. And I'm not exaggerating. I've seen 10-year-old cars that never had their engine washed running better than cars that ended up in the shop after. What looked like a perfectly good cleaning job is cheeky with me, because in this video I'm going to show you why washing your engine the wrong way is one of the worst mistakes you can make with your car. When it actually does make sense to clean it with the only correct method looks like, and a professional technique that most shops don't use but saves hours of work and prevents unnecessary part replacement. And before anything else, if these practical car maintenance tips are helpful to you, hit the subscribe button right now, turn on the bell so you don't miss any new videos, and drop a like. It really helps the channel grow and keep putting out quality content. And let me know in the comments, have you ever washed or tried to wash your engine? How did it go? Now let's get into it. I want to start by busting a myth that's so deeply embedded in the American car owner's mind that it sounds like absolute truth. Clean engine equals healthy engine. Makes sense, right? Clean is always better. Except when you actually think about the engineering of an internal combustion engine, that logic falls completely apart. Your car's engine, whether it be a Civic, a Corolla, IF1, 50, a Ram 1500, or a Silverado, virtually every car sold in the US today's world. That means the system responsible for keeping engine temperature under control is internal and sealed. It's the coolant, also called antifreeze or radiator fluid, that circulates through the engine block and the radiator, pulling heat out and keeping everything at the right temperature. See where I'm going with this? The grime on the outside of your engine, the dust, the baked-in grease, all that built-up crud does absolutely nothing to interfere with the cooling system. Nothing. The engine doesn't cool down from the outside. It cools from the inside with the fluid circulating. So this idea that washing the outside of your engine will help it breathe better, run better, last longer, that's just not true. It's the kind of thing a detail shop tells you to charge more for a service that not only brings zero benefit, but can cause you serious damage. And here's where the real problem starts. Because modern cars are nothing like the old carbureted V8s with a few wires and zero electronics. Today's car is a computer on wheels. Pop the hood on a 2022 or 2023 Camry, Silverado, or Explorer, and you're looking at a maze of sensors, electronic modules, wiring harnesses, connectors, ignition coils, temperature sensors, pressure sensors, NOx sensors, the ECM, all of that sitting right there with oil, heat, and vibration. Now imagine you grab a pressure washer, the kind you find at any gas station or coin-operated car wash, and blast high-pressure water all over that. Let me tell you what happens. I've seen it more than once. The car gets towed in. The owner is furious. They tell the story. Thought they were doing the right thing, gave the engine a little wash. Car just wouldn't start afterward. The ECM, the engine control module, the electronic brain of the vehicle on many popular car models, costs between $200 and $700 to replace, and it's fried. Water got in through the connector, caused a short circuit, took out the module, and guess what? That's not covered by your warranty. It's not covered by your insurance. You pay for it out of pocket. And it gets even worse. Some people go so overboard with the water or use the hose of zero judgment that water gets past the air filter, goes straight through the intake manifold, and ends up inside the engine. There's a technical name for that. Here's what happens. And it's simple and devastating. The piston moves up to compress the air and fuel mixture. Air is compressible. You can squeeze it. Water is not. So when the piston comes up and hits water, instead of air, it has nowhere to go. What bends is the connecting rod, the metal piece that connects the piston to the crank. When a connecting rod bends or breaks inside the engine, you're not looking at a simple repair. You're talking about an engine rebuild that can run anywhere from $1,500 to $5,000 or more, depending on the vehicle. Or you just replace the engine entirely. All of that because of a wash nobody needed to do in the first place. Before we go further, drop a comment below. Do you know someone who went through this? Have you ever heard of a car that went in for an engine wash and came back on a tow truck? Share the story, because you're going to see it's not a rare case at all. And if you haven't subscribed yet, do it now. Hit the button, turn on the bell. This channel is for people who actually want to understand cars, not be at the mercy of a mechanic who may not have your best interest at heart. So, does that mean you can never clean the engine? That's not what I'm saying. There is one situation where cleaning the engine is not only acceptable but absolutely necessary, and that's when there's a fluid leak inside the engine bay. It could be an oil leak from the valve cover gasket, the head gasket, or the crankshaft seal. It could be coolant leaking from a cracked hose, a loose fitting, or the radiator itself. It could be power steering fluid if your car still has a hydraulic system. In those cases, the leaking fluid can drip down and reach electrical and electronic components. Engine oil leaking from the valve cover gasket, for example, can run down the block and reach the alternator, which sits in a pretty exposed position underneath. The oil seeps into the alternator's internal windings. And over time, that component stops charging the battery, and you find out the hard way, stranded on the highway, on top of the alternator, which can cost anywhere from $150 to $600. Depending on the make and model, you're also paying for the tow truck, the chimiloshi, and all the stress that comes with it. Same thing with coolant. When it leaks and gets into electrical connectors, sensors, and wiring harnesses, it starts corroding the copper terminals from the inside. At first, it might show up as an intermittent fault. The car stumbles sometimes. A check engine light comes on and goes off. The car dies and then starts normally an hour later. That kind of problem is one of the hardest to diagnose because it's not consistent. The mechanic plugs in this scan tool and sometimes nothing shows up. The customer thinks the mechanic doesn't know what they're doing. The mechanic starts replacing parts at random, trying to guess. The owner keeps spending money without fixing anything. And the root cause was simply a connector with coolant residue that loses contact every now and then. So the order of operations is always this. First, you find the leak and fix it. Only after the problem is solved do you think about cleaning up the mess it left. And even then, with a lot of judgment, a lot of care in using the right products. Let me walk you through the correct method from start to finish. The first thing you need before any engine cleaning is a tool that most people have never heard of. It's not expensive, it's not complicated, but it's incredibly effective. It's called UV fluorescent dye. Here's how it works. You add a small amount of that dye to whichever fluid you suspect is leaking. Could be the engine oil, could be the coolant, could be the power steering fluid. The dye mixes with the fluid and circulates normally through the system. After that, you use a UV black light, that purple light, along with yellow tinted glasses that filter the light and boost the contrast. When you shine that lamp over the engine bay, any spot where the fluid has leaked will glow a bright yellow-green. It looks like magic. You find the exact origin point of the leak, not where the fluid ended up after dripping, but where it started coming out. That's critical, because a lot of the time, oil will travel 12 or more inches before it drips. And if you don't have this method, you'll look at where it's dripping and assume that's where the problem is, when it's actually much further up. It keeps you from replacing the wrong part and chasing the same problem. Saves time and saves money. You've found the leak and had it fixed. Now, it's time to clean. But before you touch any product on that engine, you're going to do something fundamental. Disconnect the negative battery cable. Grab a wrench, loosen the terminal, pull the cable off, and set it aside where it can't touch the negative post. That cuts power to the car's electrical systems and dramatically reduces the risk of a short circuit during the cleaning. It's simple, it costs nothing, and it makes all the difference. Second important point, the engine has to be completely cold. Not warm, not almost cold, fully cold. A car that's been sitting overnight, that hasn't been driven for at least 8 hours. I know that sounds like overkill, but there's a physical phenomenon that makes this absolutely necessary. It's called thermal shock. When you have hot metal and hit it with cold water or chemicals, it tries to contract rapidly and unevenly on an engine that can crack the aluminum block, blow the head gasket, or warp components that cost a fortune to replace. No shortcuts on this one. cold engine, period. Now, you're going to use a degreaser specifically made for engines. There are several brands available at any auto parts store. You can find them at Autos O'Reilly or Advanced Auto Parts for anywhere between $8 and $20 depending on the size and brand. Never use dish soap, never use industrial solvent, never use anything abrasive. Those products can damage rubber gaskets, corrode plastics, and cause more problems than they solve. Engine degreaser is formulated to break down grease and oil without attacking the materials that make up the components in your engine bay before spraying anything. Here's an extra step that the most careful people take, and that makes complete sense. Cover the most sensitive components with plastic bags or plastic wrap. The fuse and relay box, which is usually sitting in a corner of the engine bay, the main electrical connectors, and if your car is older, the distributor. Those components can't handle even light moisture, let alone a chemical product. Covering them is an extra layer of insurance that costs you nothing, with everything protected. Spray the degreaser on the areas with buildup, especially where there was oil or coolant residue. Don't overdo it. You don't need to soak everything. Just spray enough to cover the dirty area. Now comes the part everyone skips that makes all the difference. Patience. Let the product work for at least 30 minutes. If the grime is really caked on oil that's been baked on for months, you can leave it up to 45 minutes. The degreaser will penetrate and loosen the residue. After that, you can use a soft bristle brush, the kind you can grab at any dollar store or a hardware store, to gently scrub the more stubborn corners without using excessive force. When it's time to rinse, use a regular garden hose with the nozzle set to a gentle, wide spray. Never a pressure washer, never a concentrated stream. Low pressure water. Flowing gently to wash off the degreaser and the grime it loosened. Remove the plastic covers you put on. Give everything a light rinse, and you're done with the washing part. Now, one more step that nobody gives the attention it deserves. Drying. You can let it air dry naturally for a couple of hours. But ideally, especially here in the US where humidity is extremely high in regions like the Gulf Coast, the Southeast, the Pacific Northwest during rainy season, or anywhere during summer, use a large fan pointed directly into the open engine bay. That speeds up drying significantly and makes sure no moisture is hiding inside any connector or terminal. Once you're confident everything is dry, reconnect the negative battery cable to the post, tighten the terminal down firmly, and only then start the car. Let me know in the comments if you've been through any of this. Have you ever washed the engine the wrong way and it went badly? Do you know someone who lost the ECM because water got somewhere it shouldn't? Tell the story! Those experiences help other people avoid falling into the same trap. And there's one more thing I need to say before wrapping up about the components that naturally live with moisture in the engine bay. When you drive through a puddle, the splash comes in through the bumper, through the front grille, and reaches parts of the engine when it rains hard, which here in the US is something you deal with every year, whether you're in the Midwest during storm season, in the South during hurricane season, or anywhere during a heavy downpour. Some water ends up making its way into the engine bay. That's normal, and the components are designed to handle it. A splash of rainwater is completely different from mixing concentrated chemical product with a jet of water and blasting it directly at electronic components. The manufacturers did not design those connectors and modules to take that kind of abuse. That's why the alternator, the coils, the sensors that sit in more exposed positions in the engine bay do survive the normal splashes of everyday driving. But they give out when they get hit with chemicals and improper wash water. The difference between those two scenarios is enormous, and people who don't understand that end up chalking it up to bad luck when it was really just a lack of information. So, to wrap up everything we covered today, washing your engine the wrong way is one of the worst mistakes you can make in your car's maintenance. A clean engine on the outside does not mean a healthy engine on the inside. The cooling system is internal and sealed, and exterior grime does nothing to interfere with it. Modern cars are packed with electronics that are sensitive to water and chemicals. Pressure washing can fry the ECM, blow out wiring harnesses, cause hydrolock and bend connecting rods. When there's a fluid leak, cleaning is necessary, but always after you fix the problem first. Use UV fluorescent dye to find the exact origin of the leak. Disconnect the negative battery cable before anything else. Always work with the engine completely cold. Use a proper engine degreaser, let it sit, scrub gently, and rinse with low pressure. Dry thoroughly before reconnecting the battery. Follow these steps and you're taking care of your car the right way. No risk, no unnecessary expenses, and no, depending on someone who'd rather charge you for services you don't need than give you the straight facts. If this video helped you, and I'm confident it did, hit that like button right now. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Turn on the bell so you don't miss the next videos. And share this with that friend or family member who's always talking about giving their engine a good wash. You might just be saving their car and their wallet. See you in the next one.